Welcome to Questions to Eden. This is going to be a video series going over the first volume of Right to be Wrong, What Caused the Universe. This is the first volume in a series of books that are going to go over pretty much arguments and evidences for the existence of God and the reliability of Jesus Christ and his resurrection. And this first volume is mainly going over what caused the universe. Did it have a beginning? If it did have a beginning, what is the nature of the cause, and can we reason to the nature of the cause via the effects that it left behind? To start out this series, this is going to be a short lecture on the Kalam Cosmological Argument, because before we even begin examining if the universe had a beginning, I think we should understand the main philosophical argument supporting this notion. So we're going to start with the Kalam Cosmological Argument. For millennia, humans have grappled with the concept of the universe being self-existent and infinite, with every past event being preceded by another, on and on into an infinite past. Among ancient men, there were two predominant views of the nature of the universe, that being the Greeks, for example, believed that matter and energy were self-existent and that the gods were born out of that, and that humans were born out of conflicts with the gods. Then there were the Hebrews, who believed that the universe was not infinite, matter was not self-existent. It all came into being in the past, at the beginning. God created the universe. Like most people in our relativistic culture, you might ask, why can't both of these views be correct? Why can't my truth just be as valid as your truth? Well, the claim that the universe is not eternal or that it had a beginning is not a subjective truth claim. It's an objective truth claim, meaning that we can find its truth value by observing the object that it's focused on. In this case, our objective claim is saying that the universe had a beginning, so we can look at the object of the universe to see if it did have a beginning or if it was infinite in the past. So this is no matter of a subjective claim like, are cookies good? Or is a wedding cake the best type of cake? That's grounded in the preferences of the subject, of the person. But objective truth claims are true no matter what the subject thinks. It is grounded external to the person. Before we even start, let's get the one of the main misunderstandings of this argument. At the core, the Kalam Cosmological Argument doesn't necessarily say or conclude that God created the universe. It mainly just suggests that the universe had a cause for its beginning, and that beginning cannot be anything within the universe. Which ultimately, whenever you look at the object of the universe and you try to reason to the nature of the cause by the effects that it left in the universe, you do come to something that does have the nature of what Christians call God. The argument pretty much began whenever Western philosophy took off and the two views of an eternal and past incomplete universe came into contact. The debate seemingly ended with the famous Immanuel Kant claiming that since both sides of the argument had convincing arguments, it revealed the bankruptcy of reason. And despite the silence, the argument has returned nowadays in the scientific and philosophical scene with vengeance. The argument has deep Islamic roots, and William Lane Craig is the one who dubbed it the Kalam, which is Arabic for medieval, Arabic for medieval theology, cosmological argument. I'm going to read a quote from Craig. The Cambridge Companion to Atheism 2007 reports, account of the articles in the Philosophy Journal show that more articles have been published about the Kalam Cosmological Argument than have been published about any other contemporary formulation of an argument for God's existence. Theists and atheists alike cannot leave the Kalam argument alone. So the person who pretty much came up with this argument is the 12th century Islamic theologian Al-Ghazali. He was concerned with seeing other theologians of his day being influenced by Greek philosophy, which led them to deny things like Allah created the universe or that Allah could do specific things. It pretty much put limitations on God's power. And after deeply studying the Greek philosophers, he composed a huge critique of their views called The Incoherence of the Philosophers. In it, he argues that believing that the universe is eternal is absurd. He says that since nothing begins to exist without a cause for its beginning, there must be a creator for the universe. Everything which begins has a cause for its beginning. Now the world is a being which begins. Therefore, it possesses a cause for its beginning. So let's go over the three premises of the argument. It's written in a short syllogism. How do you pronounce that? Let me look it up. Syllogism. Alrighty. Now I know how to pronounce that. I never heard it actually said before. I've always just read the word. Anyhow, the Kalam Cosmological Argument is extremely simple, and that makes it very easy to remember. The first premise is that whatever begins to exist has a cause for its beginning. The second premise is that the universe began to exist, and the third, therefore, the universe has a cause for its beginning. I'm going to now discuss the premises shortly. The first premise being that whatever begins to exist has a cause for its existence is a very self-explanatory claim. If the universe began to exist, then it had a cause for its beginning, with the term universe referring to everything in space-time reality. Even subatomic particles that are the result of quantum decay processes. So even quantum pairing, I think that's what it's called. Whenever virtual particles pop into existence out of a quantum vacuum, that quantum vacuum is consisted of energy, which is governed by the second law of thermodynamics and physics, so it is by all means part of the universe, which would have to have an explanation for its beginning. This means that to hold to the belief that the universe didn't have a cause for its beginning is to hold to the universe coming into existence from absolutely nothing, which is absurd. To deny premise one, that things that come into existence have a cause for their existence, is to think that the universe appeared for no reason or explanation, and this also raises some issues. If something can come from nothing, then there ceases to be an explanation for how and why anything doesn't come into existence. Like, why aren't water bottles just popping in rain clouds and there's water bottles falling from the sky? Why doesn't that happen? If the universe could come into existence from nothing, why doesn't anything else come into existence from nothing? Why is it only universes that can do that? Second premise is that the universe began to exist, and this is the most debated one, and you're not going to find many people claiming that things come into existence from nothing. If you do, there's kind of no reason to argue with that because they're denying sound reasoning. Anyhow, you will find far more people holding to a beginningless eternal universe. And this video is actually not meant to go over that evidence. That's for other videos following in this series here. So one of the biggest philosophical issues with a universe being eternal is that an actual infinite amount of things can't exist. If the universe never began to exist, then its past is infinite, and there have been an infinite number of events preceding today. How did today come about then if the past is actually an infinite number of events leading up to today? It makes no sense, logically speaking. Potential infinites are one thing. It is where infinity serves as like a max upper limit or a cap that can never be reached. An example is like if a guy sat in a chair and counted from 1 to 3 and continued for a theoretically or hypothetical infinite amount of time, he would never reach that infinite limit counting one at a time. An actual infinite is an entirely different thing. It is an actual number of infinite things. But an actual infinite number of things cannot exist in the material world. If I had a chest full of an infinite amount of lollipops, and then I hold an event where 5,000 people come, and they each receive a lollipop upon entry, how many lollipops do I have left? I still have an infinite amount left. If I then get taxed by the candy government for 33%, 1/3 of my candy supply, how many lollipops do I have left? I still have an infinite amount of lollipops left, and that 1/3 division of that infinite amount is also an infinite number of lollipops to give to the government. It results in logical absurdities like an actual division of an infinite amount of lollipops resulting in an infinite number of lollipops itself. You can't reach infinity by addition, and you cannot divide infinity into non-infinite parts. If the universe was eternal, that means that the amount of past events that has accumulated has happened one after another for an infinite amount of time. Therefore, if you cannot reach an actual infinite by adding one by one, then today could have never happened. But today is happening. That means that there had to be a beginning. And then premise 3 is just going to follow that since the universe does have a beginning, it had a cause. The claim that the universe is eternal, like I said before, is an objective truth claim, where we can observe the object of the universe and see if we can determine if that statement is true. This is where the scientific evidence, like the cosmic background radiation, distant starlight redshift, mathematical models of singularities, philosophical problems like I just mentioned, and other observational evidences all come into play to get us to that ultimate nature of the cause, which is something that is spaceless, timeless, personal, immaterial, and powerful, and knowledgeable, and intelligent, if I didn't say that already. So if we can prove the first two premises to be true, which is going to be what this whole series is going to be about, we can then conclude that the universe had a beginning. And if we can do that, then we should be able to look at the cause, or look at the effect of the universe, and see if we can at least get the minimum nature of the cause to be able to be adequate enough to cause the universe. Now, a lot of people do say that number theory has refuted this because you can use infinite as a value that can be useful for solving certain equations and doing certain things in math, but this is bogus. The set of natural numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on has an actual infinite number of numbers in it. But can you actually count or see or observe all of those infinite numbers? No, you can't, because an actual infinite still cannot exist in the material world. Number theory has done useful things with infinites, but it has done nothing to explain how an actual infinite number of things can fit into the material finite world. So now, with a brief overview of the Kalam Cosmological Argument, we can now delve into what the actual heavens say whenever we look up and ask, is the universe eternal? And that's what the next videos in the series are going to be covering, are the scientific evidence and some of the history too, leading up to the conclusion that the universe had a beginning, going over different universe models such as the oscillating universe, the static universe, inflationary cosmology, along with some string theory and quantum cosmology as well. And we're going to see if theism does offer the best explanation for the beginning of the universe. So if you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see more about this topic, I suggest subscribing and going to ptequestionstoeden.com, where I post an article every week just going over something biblical, apologetic, or just an informative article giving you some information about the Bible or history or something in the biblical topics. So if you refuse to believe that the universe is past and complete, that is completely okay. God created you with free will, which means that you have the right to be wrong.